All right, this is Lance Lawyer, acting chair for the evening. Josh will not be with us, or he may be with us late. I call this meeting to order. Yay.
Yay.
All right, first order of business.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the previous meeting's minutes as presented.
Do we have a second? Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor of accepting the previous meeting's minutes as written? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it. Finances, do we have any reports or complaints on finances this evening?
Position candidate application.
Okay. I don't know if this is a good place or not to report that, but it has to do with finances. But we have two people that have volunteered to fill the auditor's positions. So,
Auditor.
yep,
Is Phil one of them?
Phil and
He's volunteered to find out about
no, I got an email. I forwarded it to the rest of the select board. I am sorry, Tanny, I did not forward it to you.
that. He just contacted me and wanted to know more information.
Phil and Carolyn Downs both volunteered to be on the auditors board, internal auditors board. So, well, as good a place as any.
I'll make the motion. We accept their offer to take those positions as auditors.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to accept Philip and Carolyn Bronze as auditors for the town of Bakersfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved.
People let him know.
Yes, please. Are there any other issues that anybody wants to bring up on the consent agenda? Okay, we'll move on to visitors. We have a visitor, Bruce Martin from the state of Vermont Highway Divisions. How do you do, sir?
Good evening, everybody. How are you all?
Good, and you?
Good, thank you. So, I guess I'll let you guys start off. I know that we had sent a maintenance agreement for some work that had been done on Egypt Road. And I was told that you guys had some questions regarding that, or what was being asked.
We feel, rightly or wrongly, that design flaws or design implementation is causing the gravel runoff from the end of Egypt Road onto 108, and it shouldn't be our responsibility. That is the majority feeling on this. We'd like your comment on that, please.
Yeah, so I would agree that anything that comes into 108, and I know this is a difficult situation at Egypt Road. It was a pre-existing problem that we had before, and we tried to correct. Understandably, that's a very steep hill, and the velocities coming off that hill with any runoff is very high. So I don't fully expect we would collect all of the sediment that comes into 108. So the maintenance agreement that we're asking for, I'll try to share my screen. Hopefully that will work. Can you all see my screen here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reason why we're asking for a maintenance agreement is we had installed a paved like swale or gutter on the side of the roadway, and to get it all constructed to send down to this catch basement or a drainage inlet, we had to get a permanent highway easement along the town's right of way and our right of way from Teapot Homes. And that is actually what triggered the maintenance agreement. So I'm assuming that the runoff you're talking about is, coming into 108 in this area.
Yes,
Right. So what we're really stating is because this is, you can kind of see this line here, that's where the highway connects onto the travel lane of 108. So that's why it is stating that it starts there. But I think coming into 108 is definitely still our responsibility. It's really just this triangle that we're trying to get a maintenance agreement on, just because we needed that area to construct the swale that is collecting runoff on this side of Egypt Road, is sending it to this location. The structure, this DI, that's still going to be our maintenance responsibility because it is within our right of way. It's just this little tiny small triangle that we're looking to get the maintenance agreement for as a
okay.
part of this swale.
Martin, is that drainage inlet, does that have an outlet across the road, or is that dry well type?
It connects over to this side. So
Yeah.
it runs north, then down, and then runs across into our outlet.
All right.
So
I'm gonna ask our road foreman, road commissioner, Mac Newitt, to comment on that. How do you feel, Mac? Would you please come up where you can reach the speaker?
Come on the mic.
Bruce, what is it you're looking for us to do on that triangle? Just remove sand or whatever when it accumulates, or?
yeah, really, I mean, I do expect there could be some sediment buildup from that paved swale coming down there. And just we just want it free flowing. That is collecting runoff from the town highway itself. So that's why we are reaching out to you, just to make sure that flow can make it to that structure itself.
Just basically keep that triangle free of debris.
Really, that's really it, just to make sure the water can get to that structure instead of damming up and then make it down to 108.
Okay.
Okay, so you do realize that from the south side of the Egypt Road, there is washout for $half size gravel that washes out into 108 that you are maintaining responsibility for?
If it's in 108, we would maintain responsibility for that, yeah, for cleaning that.
From the south side of Egypt Road?
On this side, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, on the south side, yeah. So I mean, I'm entertained, like, if I don't know if there's anything we can do now design wise. We did try to get some stone in there to slow the flow down and to correct some of this, collect some of the sediment before getting to that structure. But like I said, this is a difficult location. And I think the only way of really fixing it would be paving all of Egypt Road to try to get and that'd take a long time. I know you have some ledge issues in that area as well. So we were trying to collect as much as we can. Again, I don't know if that would, we obviously didn't, fix the problem, but we're trying to, limit it as much as we could, because I knew that it was a pre-existing condition or an issue.
I can see that back.
Yeah, my thought, if I could, is there any possibility of sending this document that you're showing? Is there any possibility of sending that along with the request so that we have it for our files and exactly what you're requesting?
Yeah, we could send this on, and I do believe this was filed with the town clerk. We typically file all of our right-of-way plans with all the municipalities. So I do think it is filed, but I can have the individual who sent out the maintenance agreement send this over to you as well.
Thank you.
It's listed as
It's no longer.
It's no longer
Okay.
So
Melanie, are you aware that Teapot Homes property has now been purchased by Melanie Riddle?
I wasn't aware, but being the fact that it's a permanent highway easement, that actually changes the deed language. So it should be right in their deed that we have an easement on that little corner of the property.
Okay. So I think that clarifies the questions we had, and thank you very much for consenting to be with us this evening. I hope you didn't feel that it was a waste of your time.
No, I'd be putting kids to bed anyways, but right now, I just want to mention, not because I am here, if you do have any other questions, we do have a culvert replacement project that will be constructed south of town next year in the right where David Berner's property is. There's like a little dip, and you can see like there's a patch there. We had a failure at one time, and there's a 48-inch culvert there, and they just slapped on a 30-inch pipe there, and it's definitely undersized. So we're going to be installing a 14-foot wide and 5-foot high opening at that location, large culvert. So we will be having to lower the traffic down to 1 lane at a time and phasing construction throughout, just to keep traffic moving. I just wanted to bring that to your attention if you hadn't heard about that yet.
No, I had not. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Do you have a time frame for that?
We are looking to advertise in December, so it'd be constructed next construction season.
Okay.
It is a pretty significant excavation, as that culvert currently is 15 to 20 feet under fill.
Yeah.
So that's why we can only have room to get 1 lane of traffic there, and obviously there's not really a good detour in the area, so we didn't want to detour traffic and close the roadway. But just want to make you aware if you haven't. So if you had any questions on that, I am overseeing that project, so feel free to reach out if you do have any questions as they come up.
We will. Thank you very much for your time, Bruce. You have a good evening.
All right, you too. Thank you all.
If I could, can I make a adjustment to the visitors portion?
Yeah.
Sean is on for the NWCUD. Can we move him up so that he can speak? And the NWCUD is the Northwest Fiber Works now. The name has been changed. Is that Sean?
It used to be the Northwest Communications Units District.
We adopted a DBA because saying Northwest Vermont Communications Union District is a mouthful.
Thank you for hopping on this evening to give us an update. I know Brenda couldn't be here tonight and she had said you had a few updates, and if you could just lay them out for us, that would be perfect.
Yeah, certainly. And, feel free to shoot questions. It's usually the best way to get through these, but we continue to make progress. As everyone knows, we were created in summer of 2020, and we're from nothing, just a few towns, and here we are now 22 towns in total, or 22 communities in total, and we are getting closer every day to beginning our construction. If those who don't recall, we went through a long period of negotiations with Google Fiber that ultimately did not happen, unfortunately, but we kind of refocused our efforts. We took that as a learning opportunity. Certainly sitting at the table with Google for about 6 months, we learned a whole lot. So, we took a lot of those lessons of what we did like, what we didn't like about that. And we feel that we're in a better position today than probably what we would have been under that scenario. So we had to put back out, we put it on an RFI right at the end of last year. We received 5 responses, and we are currently negotiating with our anchor tenant to serve as kind of the primary provider of last resort or standard offer throughout the entirety of the district. And we are very much shooting to begin construction this year. We do have some resources and materials. We got some of that this past December, and we have some of that in the district now. So we're gathering equipment, gathering as much resources as we can so we can kick off construction season. We've identified our central office location, and we're trying to get things going as quickly as possible. As you can imagine, creating a brand new utility is quite the challenge. So we're coming a long way. We are pleased at the progress we've made. We've hit a couple roadblocks on the way, but we're getting closer every day to kind of getting things kicked off and getting our first block of addresses up and running, hopefully this year.
Excellent.
Nice.
So what's the first town targeted?
Can't tell you. And primarily for competitive reasons. We need to be a little bit strategic with how we go about that. But I can say that our primary focus, it doesn't take a lot to look at the state's data on what areas are of most need. That generally aligns with our plans. If that's kind of a sly way to tell you where we're going.
I know that Brenda was saying that she couldn't mention either who was taking over. I know that the messenger reported at one point that Google Fiber was going to be the one, or the Google was going to be doing the transmission. We're excited to hear that it's going to move forward with someone else. When do you possibly think, is there a time frame for an announcement of who?
As soon as I get through, the good thing is we learned a whole lot, and hopefully it's not going to take 6 months to go through negotiations. I know also the new organization is much more aligned with kind of our ideals and how we operate, and I think they have they get the type of entity that we are much more than a large multinational corporation like Google. So things are going to progress a lot quicker, and we should ideally have our contracts and service level agreements, everything in place inside of the next 60 days. We'll say 90 just to give me a buffer, but we'll have all that in place, and then in short order we'll make a public announcement.
Excellent.
Yes. Very good.
I think last summer, if I remember, you guys had the helicopter surveying the poles to determine the poles you're going to run.
We did do some of that, yeah. Enosburg and Swanton Electric Utilities didn't have the most up-to-date database. Enosburg didn't know where all their poles were. I think the crew knows where the poles were, but it wasn't any sort of database, or for someone to do some analysis like us. So that was really helpful. We flew the helicopter that around 260 miles of route planning, and we now know where every single pole is in the entire district, and it's going through quality assurance right now. We're basically at 99% complete with our engineering plans, just kind of going through the last phase of just making sure that we didn't miss something, or we're not going down the wrong road and end up kind of stuck and have to kind of reverse course and go somewhere else. So we're pretty close to being completely finished with our engineering design. So it's good.
Excellent. And that's all going to be over air, right? It's all over the lines are going to run?
Yeah, it'll be aerial. I mean, there's a few spots. Some of it will be underground, just like, getting to people's houses. There's very few, we're estimating somewhere around like 2 to 3% underground throughout the entirety of the district. And that's on a 1,300-mile build. So it's thankfully that's the case. I spent plenty of time doing underground stuff in Burlington, and it's a whole lot more expensive to do it underground than it is putting on poles.
Heck yeah. My other question is this like on a ring type topology, right, where it's going to be self-healing if we have a break, let's say in Fairfield, that you're going to be able to come around the back way as well as, to the break, so the people stay up and running?
Yep, we're gonna have redundant rings. We're gonna have kind of eastern and western ring. It'll work both ways. And we'll have some kind of redundancy paths within there as well. And the entity that we're working with is going to have local resources right within the district. So they're not going to have to get dispatched from another state or from Southern Vermont to come up and fix a problem. We're going to have local resources right within our district. So should we have a break or an issue, I saw a god awful photo the other day, a backhoe dug up a 288 fiber cable and made one heck of a mess. I was like, ooh, that's just I can't imagine having to sit in the truck and try to fix that problem. Yeah, so hopefully we'll never have any of those issues, but we will have the local crews in the district to resolve problems should they arise.
Yeah, what I do in my daytime job, we call that the fiber seeking backhoes. Yeah, we don't. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Oh,
Do you have anything else for us, John?
I don't know. Feel free to reach out anytime. I'm sure having Brenda Bakersfield, I'm sure on it. We do have our board representative reappointments coming up next month, and board elections in the first part of May for our executive group. So we're thankful that Bakersfield's a very strong, active partner for us. We always appreciate the local support, and we will continue on and share our good news as we have it to share.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone.
That was who?
Sean K-I-O. K-O.
Okay.
Sean, how do you say your last name? Keo?
Kayo.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Appreciate your time.
Have a good evening.
You too.
All right, next on the agenda is road report, Mr. Newitt.
Let's know it. Yeah.
They got,
What do you have, Mr. Newitt?
we trucked in some stone for mud season. We put some of it on the road in some places. When it's frozen, we're gonna try to do it when it's frozen.
Yeah.
So we put the rest of the road. Played with the grader, a few spots the other day.
I saw you on the end of King Road where you, I saw the new grader on the end of King Road.
Right.
Was it effective or?
We put a little stone in there. for putting potholes.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do, get the worst potholes and, but we haven't had any mud to speak of yet, you know.
Yeah, it's been
The top 2-3 inches that always gets snotty when it.
Yeah,
The first time is there, but it seems to be drying out fairly.
I haven't seen any of the big
Frost.
nasty holes that we normally do in a lot of the spots. I mean, it's remained fairly firm.
Frost teams haven't been terrible this year. I mean, they're there, but they're not so pronounced as they usually
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you got the stone from,
We got it in reaches.
you did? Because I went up there the other day to get a price list and they weren't even,
They're open upon request. They open, we called and asked and he said, you know, you tell me you're gonna have 2 trucks drawn for a day, we'll open.
okay,
And then he had a couple of farmers or sugar makers come in to draw some stuff too, so. But as of yet, they're not. I mean, he doesn't have a price list anyway, because we asked for a price list and they haven't decided that yet.
it's right on the front counter. They left the office open.
Was it a 2023 price list?
I don't have it. It was the price list that was on the counter. It was Friday.
We got one from last year. And
It could be last year's. I couldn't tell you. I didn't look honestly. It was the price list. It was on the counter. That's what I was there for and I picked it up and left. But yeah,
We'll be in that ballpark.
so I know.
they're usually not too much. You know, go ahead, John. Maybe you want to say something.
Oh, actually, I don't. I mean, you know, the roads are the roads. It's, you got people doing the maple in and you're seeing a little bit of that, so. It isn't too bad. I mean, some of the roads have,
Right.
you know,
in some places, yeah.
Good freezes at night, which
Yeah.
stiffens them up and. Yeah, they
Yeah.
can't draw all the time and they're frozen, but it does help. It stiffens up and doesn't have a week of 40-degree weather.
yeah, well, I don't.
No, last year, right by between Doan's and
Top of the hill.
Neil's and Harrison's house there were some nasty holes there last year.
Fixed it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
I mean, we do, those trench drains we put in a lot, if you're driving along, you feel a dip or see a L-shaped thing, that's a trench drain. We dig it out, put stone in,
Mhm.
we started putting in more pipe to help it along, but just the stone seems to exit the water. And any place we've been doing it so far.
As you said, there's some compaction, but that's to be expected.
Well, it's the frosty.
Yeah.
Basically with that, I mean, you know, it's thawing, I think, before the rest of the road is, so it dips down. But as long as it's not muddy. We're happy.
No other emergencies, any other problems?
I see the state's fix down there to Boston Post didn't last long.
I don't think it lasted a week.
They put gold back in.
Yeah.
I filled the one just up off the apron there, some sand one day, which, you know, it happens. More of these, we get down to Essex and get some coal packs, but apparently they did take credit for that one if they filled it.
I was gonna mention it to Bruce, but I wasn't sure his project or not, because that's all the time. It's all the, I don't care how many times they patch it, it only lasted for a couple of weeks. and-
That apron down there, yeah.
Yeah, it's all.
Freaks the
Yeah.
person out behind me when I go.
Yeah.
Wait, still. have-
They're following you. Ram.
They probably know what you carry and say.
That's,
That's right.
So she's been drinking again, damn it. All right, thank you, sir.
so you saw where we got the letter about the barn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we gonna put our John Hancock as the complainer?
There was somebody else that
Yeah, I thought someone could.
it wasn't us that started it. Somebody else did have a complaint about it, and I'd be damned, Terry, if I can remember who it is at this time. I'd have to go back in the minutes, and I don't even know what date to start with.
I don't think,
And might as well put, we're complaining about it because
Okay.
it was detrimental to
Yeah.
Matt and them.
right,
That way.
yeah, I don't think we need to complain.
Make it a motion.
I'll make a motion that the select board is the complaintee for the barn falling in the road on Waterville Mountain Road. Is that what they call that?
Yep. At the
Intersection.
first eighth of excuse me, at the first eighth of a mile on the beginning of Waterville Mountain Road.
I'll second that.
All right, motion has been made and seconded to list the town of Bakersfield as the complainant on record for the condition of the barn that is leaning over the road on the first 1/8 of a mile on Waterville Mountain Road. All those in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There, we can move forward. That would be reported to the zoning board administrator, and she can move forward with the complaint.
we can sign it or whatever need be.
Just love that pen, don't you, Gary?
I always hit that stupid button. It's right here. I'm gonna change pens because it's like I scratch my head, it's flashing. It's ridiculous.
Do we have any new information on the grant writing proposal?
I spoke to the gentleman the other day via email. He's actually putting together the proposal almost for ARPA on the 4th.
Okay,
So that he can put together a proposal to be funded by ARPA funds for our grant writing for the X amount of
so the report on that is it is in progress.
in progress. So,
Okay,
yeah, I'll bring that up on the others. And then we don't, Linda, did you have anything? I know we kind of jumped on.
For
business.
treasure position, you said?
A quick question on the,
oh shoot, I'm sorry,
On the
I skipped
Northwest-
over that, didn't I? I apologize.
Yeah.
And,
No,
people up, are they a competitor or are they working with them?
So since you're not on mic, I'll just just put that back out. So Linda's question is, with Northwest Fiber, what is the relationship with Consolidated Communications? They are competitors. Yeah, it can, I won't say that Consolidated didn't have this in the works, but it seems that they definitely accelerated that project. And they are definitely running fiber up the road, up to Main Street. I don't know if it's going to get,
They're running all sides.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they're-
hanging off my pills.
they're going this way.
Yeah, and I will say that
It was in 12 o'clock AM the other night in
Yeah.
Eastburg.
Wow,
Yeah,
the question,
they want you some sooner than.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
five in fast. It's gonna be 5 fast.
it's a good.
so I think was in.
Yeah.
My understanding is, and it's only been I heard, it's not like they put out anything official. My understanding is they're trying to get gig speed to every household. My understanding is that's going to run about $190 a household. Right where Northwest Fiber works, if they can sign their deal, if what I heard is correct, is $90 a household. So it's just, the question is how quick can they get their fiber up on the poles in here? And of course, when you sign up with, it's much like Comcast used to do to you have to lock in for 2 years to get the 190 or, yes, sir.
I have a question. So if a Consolidated has already run their fiber lines to my house, which is a dead end location. Am I stuck with them?
No, you still have a choice. I think the premise behind them is also they're replacing the aging copper lines.
No, they left it hanging.
Well, eventually, the thought process is that the copper lines can't support us anymore, not only for DSL, but they were put in I believe 100 years ago now, like in the 20s or 30s. The lines were run and the actual lines are finding it difficult to find a good set of pair to go to each household.
Yeah.
They're corroded and things
Yeah.
like that. They've been underwater.
We just swapped at the fire station. from
Yeah.
We could go back to
consolidated
the
over
party lines.
Yeah,
Those are fun.
Exactly. They're always fun when you can throw in and hear someone else talking. So was that, did that answer?
That is, thank you.
You're welcome. So we're back to.
I'm sorry, I skipped over treasurer's position because I heard Tammy report earlier in the meeting, or it may have been actually before the meeting. That the applicant we had for a treasurer's position actually withdrew their application. So we are back to square one. We do not have an applicant for the treasurer.
At this time.
this time.
Um,
I was gonna say, I saw it in the-
Yeah, 4 days in the messenger. And 1 week in the courier, and then we did it again like 2 weeks later.
I say read it again.
Yeah, I think you've got to,
I have to.
you gotta have some description, I think, of the job. That's-
Information, I sent
Yeah.
them these, but she wanted to know, hey, she wanted to know.
You can't put pay in.
Hey, it's hard to put in.
And
Depends upon-
He's just coming for the pay. You don't want him anyway.
That's one thing you should learn.
Here's the thing,
Tell me one person that has pay in their. That would be
it's
the
dependent,
first reason we would not hire somebody.
it's dependent upon
They're looking for-
experience.
Yeah. If you need to add, I don't remember if is it in there. John has a very good point, to put pay dependent upon experience.
Yeah.
We don't put a salary out there, no one ever does. Experience or qualifications. They actually-
I'm sorry, we're not gonna be able to get you.
That's gonna make a judgment to.
Yeah,
It's a perfect point. I had someone apply for a job, and I know it's a segue, but I had someone apply for a job at my data center
Yeah.
as a basic operator who had a PhD in biochemistry.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Oh, welcome, sir.
miss. Dear God.
It's all right.
Better late than never.
Wow. Wow, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
You want me to continue, or would you like to step in? All right.
We did
Um,
fill the dog catcher position.
Yeah.
Welcome.
All right.
And I swore I heard you volunteer for the position last week.
Run it again. And what we're doing is, we're doing the line, which is this little, you've seen it, right? Ad.
So that one
As
about
opposed to like a courier, you get this big treasurer, Bakersfield. So that, I think it was $60 for 4 days for messenger. If you wanted to bump it up, I can't
Make it
remember, it's
bigger.
quite a bit more, but it's a bigger piece.
So instead of the little square, it's
Yeah.
3 times the size. Right.
Yeah,
the
it's like
footprint.
in decorative, I
Do you have any, I'm sure it's more. Do you have any idea what?
think it was $100 a day.
Do it?
Oh, Some, no.
No.
Okay,
Do it.
just wanted to make sure.
Go from one note to note. Hey, why don't we do this?
Response for that, but
Do this? Why don't you check how much it is first, that's the size, and we can decide. Send it out in an email. We can take a look and have it ready for the next meeting.
I say we run it once this way.
The way it goes. Got it, okay.
If you spend $400 on an ad,
The way it was.
oh, the way it was,
Right.
Run it one day.
you're running it the way it was.
You're running it. Oh, run it once the way it was, okay.
Okay. Warrants and reports. Are there any questions on the warrants?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Shoot.
So I thought we had this discussion about Tammy and the ARPA secretary position.
Yes.
We did not approve that.
So that was assigned by Brenda, and Tammy was told she would be paid for her time
And
as the ARPA administrator.
to us. And we asked Brenda at the time who approved it, because that ARPA money has to be approved by us.
Right.
She can't just spend ARPA money.
She was using, she said, now I can only, she's not here. So this would be a good question for her, but I'll paraphrase
When
on
we
it.
look back at our minutes, we then told her that night that no,
That was, yes, but I believe this,
to pay for her, we were not paying for a secretary.
I don't know if that was before this meeting.
She said that she has the power to appoint any.
She does not. She has zero power.
Everything was prior to the last meeting.
Right, that the ARPA meeting, that was the February 28th, I think. I think it's February 28th ARPA meeting and whatever transpired around there.
Yeah,
It doesn't even matter when the meetings were. She had no authority when she was on the board to spend that money without the select board approving.
Right.
We have to approve any of that money.
I don't disagree. We've signed off on Tammy's hours for multiple meetings before this. I'm not trying to, kick dust. I'm just saying Tammy was under the impression she was being paid and did the minutes.
We signed once and we questioned it then.
twice.
Signed twice. 2 or 3 times, yeah.
Twice, according to your time sheet.
Oh, no, that's for yeah. And you've been paid 3 times.
Where's the third one?
It's not on there. That's,
Two others. And then this one is,
so you're recording how many, you're recording 4 hours on the ARPA time, right? That's between the meeting and capturing the notes. Right. And Tammy, Terry, to your point, that's why I said I'm not taking any money for ARPA. It's like, this is,
Administrator was approved for an hourly rate.
yeah,
We did not approve a secretary.
I understand what you're saying.
I will say this, having done it myself when I was first elected to the select board. You can't effectively take minutes at a meeting
While we're on.
and run the
I'm saying
meeting
the position,
and run the meeting to it.
not,
So I'm just, let me finish. I think that we should have, these minutes have to be recorded. I don't think it's out of line to have someone, to pay someone to record the minutes. Whether we do this in the future,
We have one more
we're
meeting.
done with it. Yeah,
We
we've
got
got
one more meeting on the floor.
We've got one.
that's the point. As a board, we have to legally
Prove it.
approve any of that ARPA funds.
And this is asking for that approval.
Not approve the ARPA. So she cannot hire somebody without us giving her authority to hire somebody
Right.
legally. She was the only one hired to do anything for that ARPA at $25 an hour.
I would ask that you go back in the recordings and look and see what the minutes reflect and what the tape reflects for that meeting, if that took place. That's the easiest way to.
You mean the discussion that,
The discussion, that
Prepare
took
your
place, right,
message.
right.
I just remember.
Do you
and it's
recall?
not my memory.
I'm sorry. I don't mean this. I'm disagreeing with you, Terry. I'm just saying.
Seeing it on the warrants twice. I remember the first time seeing it and questioning it then,
What?
and us telling Brenda
Yeah,
then.
we've had this discussion before. I would agree with that.
12, 13, 20, 10, 24, 22. So it's totally trackable. But, I mean, this is Trying.
By law, the minutes have to be recorded. How we do it is up to us, but they do have to be recorded, and then hiring someone to do it is the most effective way to do it. However, I'm not trying to argue with you, Terry. I'm just throwing things out to discuss.
Well, I think Brenda could have hired her, but it would have come out of Brenda's money.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I guess that's the point that is being
That's
made.
exactly how it would have to be.
Because we didn't, as a board, you didn't authorize it. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're saying, because she didn't get approval to give you $25 an hour. She was given it from her $25 an hour.
Right.
That's what's
Because
being.
no one
Well, that's-
select board member can make a decision without the group. being-
Sure.
right?
Exactly.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
So,
And that's what I'm saying. The best thing to do is go back. If it's not in the minutes, look at the recorded meeting, see what discussion took place. Maybe it got missed, maybe it didn't, or maybe at least it clears it out that way.
I can't hear you.
if the ARPA administrator can deem to hire a recorder. I mean,
Are you willing to do that?
It's a loan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
I
I think-
call VLCT, but
John should do it because he's the coordinator.
I think,
oh,
no,
act as a single board member.
yeah, we have an ARPA coordinator and whose job that would be to call and ask. So,
all right, I'll ask that tomorrow.
thank you, sir.
What is the question that you're gonna ask?
I'm gonna find out if Brenda was within her rights to have as ARPA administrator to hire a secretary to record the notes.
We paid for that.
It comes out of ARPA funds.
That's.
It does come out of ARPA funds, yes.
My question is then,
Then
would it just be,
that makes no sense because ARPA funds cannot be spent by one board member.
Right.
And
The appointed administrator can do that is the question.
So to Terry's
appointed
point,
administrator can spend the ARPA money.
Can use it for administrative fees.
to Terry's point,
Those aren't administrative fees.
to
Minutes, recording the minutes would be a legal responsibility. Are part of the administrative fee. But the
administrative?
question is, we need to find out whether or not she has the authority to do that or not,
ARPA administrator.
with or without the board,
Yeah.
correct?
Because ultimately the board decides the disbursement of ARPA funds.
We had this discussion before because I brought it up before the first time that we had that bill in,
Which,
which would have been back.
damn it, which should be easy to find, so we'd be looking at the minutes from. Judging by this, I would say the meeting,
Say a couple weeks after.
I know, I'd say it'd be the next meeting after 12/13, which would be, that's 12/13/20.
I can tell you it's one or two meetings because Tammy's not exactly getting her, like, it's already behind it. February 28th, it should have been the last meeting, so maybe one or two meetings.
No, it'd be, the first one was December 30th, 2020,
12/26.
sorry, 12/20/21. 21,
21, I'm sorry.
yep,
December 30th,
I could tell you right now.
I don't know,
Yes.
Give me a moment.
After the 13th,
after the 13th was the select board meeting, so.
and it was at night, so I should have been on that meeting. It was then.
No, yeah, 2022,
13th.
December
no, 2021,
21.
yep.
What was the other day?
December.
Yeah, July 7th, August 15th.
July 7th, when?
That's January. Now you're into,
July 7th,
Say.
next meeting.
actually check 10/20, right, which was what the date was there. Check the date, 10/24/22. Was that our select board meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so when they recorded this, they put the select board meeting dates down that they were approved or not, well, approved at this point.
Okay.
So that would be,
No, it's my fault. I was supposed to get that. I didn't even check that.
Or what's this Zoom, Brenda's Zoom reimbursement?
that was highlighted in the,
Zoom, what happened there, I know what happened there. So Brenda was billed, she has the Zoom account on her credit card that we use for the meetings. And what happened was she forgot to remove it, so it billed her. We paid, she paid it, we're reimbursing her. Moving forward, the town of Bakersfield credit card that's assigned to Kathy is now the recipient of the Zoom bills. It's on the account.
We have the invoice for that showing.
Yeah, she put it in, it went in on March, she was billed March 4th or 5th.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
It's this, though.
that's the same thing, but highlighted, yeah.
That one.
I think it was just because it was questioned and they wanted it to yellow highlighter against. We are looking at 12, 13, 21.
There was in the folder for me, in the select board piece, an ARPA breakout of everything that has been spent to date. I requested that for the report I have to do. I don't see it. I did see it originally. It may be mixed
Somewhere.
up in the papers. I don't know.
It's just proof of Annie's request from Medicare.
Oh, okay.
So,
When was the ARPA meeting?
what,
Yeah.
the very first one or the last one?
I would say it would have been talked about, Tammy, it would have been talked about in the select board meeting. That's what we're questioning, is whether it was discussed during a select board meeting or whether it was discussed outside of.
And this is handled.
So if there's nothing on 12, 13, 21, okay, can you check, to be, is there a breakdown of the warrants?
No more. of the ARPA on the-
Isn't there a
I'll
question?
break this. We'd have to-
He took it over.
We'd have to go in and look at
So-
the warrants for that day.
Well, that's it, yeah,
They won't be there.
right, but it's separate.
Yeah, but it won't be on the, it won't be in the file sheet.
Yeah. Well, she's looking at select board minutes, they should have ARPA with a number and a total. If she writes down each individual warrant.
Yeah, you're correct. Yes.
It was,
So Tammy, if it's not discussed on 12, 13, 21, you are in 21, correct? Okay, then please check 10, 24, 22.
What you're doing that on this, there's no bill here to show that she was billed at 149. So I think we need to get a letter from her with a copy of that bill. Showing it's not in here.
it's not in the stack.
That's why I'm saying, I would, it's not to me, it's just we need something to back up the charge.
Yeah, there should
Yeah.
be.
Should be in the stack.
I didn't see it anywhere.
I
The other
didn't-
thing I would ask is on her zoning hours, can we get what that person's doing? What are the jobs that you're doing in that 2.5 hours, or are you leaving the site? Are you,
Yeah.
processing permits? It would just be easier.
I think that's a valuable request, Todd. I do know there's,
Approved to spend our funds, Brenda said not written, creative salaries. She said this is the second payment, the secretary, this is the second ARPA meeting. Josh said that would be the person that the board appointed to manage the ARPA funds. Josh said that John is to go to the next ARPA meeting to represent the select board as administrator. So there's nothing about paying anybody, but
Yeah, they're right there. Here, that's okay.
149 with.
you could.
It's happened. Bill,
Thank you.
it's
I
just,
thought I saw it, Todd. Maybe I had the question myself, because I flipped through, it, so I'm like, did I think I saw that or did I even see that? As to your other point, she does come here, open hours.
say,
Right, and just.
Sits here, whoever shows up.
Just the office hours, if that's the case.
Right,
yeah. Her office hours are posted on the webboard out there, but
Well, no, there's no hours. That was just one.
Right. So I'm just saying, that, when someone asks us what she doing.
That sounds like something that needs to be said.
Explain,
Yes.
this is what she was doing.
She is an employee of the town. I think that we have to set her hours.
Yeah. I agree with that, Lance.
We had hours before.
We did, but Darlene set them herself. But they were reasonable.
No, I know, but I mean, I'm just saying,
Do we read this and
In the minutes?
how it was? I believe it's this paragraph here. I don't, can we make heads or tails?
Give me the date, I can pull it up, but
10/24.
That just solidifies it.
she says not for admin salaries.
I mean,
It's not admin
that
salaries.
said, no, she can't do it, you know. I would have written that down and I would have stopped.
So, and I think with what this says here. Personal opinion, with what this says here. And the question that John is gonna ask. It'll be clarified.
Yeah.
This is clear as mud. This says Terry's asking, how is it done?
Right.
Brenda says this is how it's done, but there's no
There's no-
clarification on either side. Is the yes, that is, or no, it's not.
Right, and there was no request to have the board approve that. That's the
Right,
thing
right.
that's missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
that's right, that's the piece that's missing. If
Yeah.
we're gonna ask for proof of that, then we almost accept that what she said at face value.
Right, I agree.
So.
Having said forward, yeah, I have one more meeting, but I need recorded. So let's just get on the record that I'd like to, once again, use Tammy for the final time. And I'd like board approval, and I'll still ask the question of the article, but let's just, so we can have this all worked out. I'm requesting board approval to spend the time to have Tammy capture my hours, capture the meeting and whatever hours they take at the rate that she was being paid prior.
The minutes you're asking.
For the minutes, for recording of the minutes and distributing the minutes, distribution of the minutes.
That's your motion.
That's my motion.
Motion to request.
Yes. Approval,
Continuation of approval. Continuation. I wouldn't say continuation of approval. Right, right.
Motion has been made. Do you have a second?
I will second that.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Aye. Can I have a hand vote, please? Anyone else?
Those were the nays.
Okay. All those opposed?
I say no.
Okay.
That is your right.
Duly noted. We have 4 aye and 1 nay.
Nothing personal, Tammy.
No, I'm not thinking.
Well, if we start taking stuff personal around here, we're gonna be in deep.
Yeah, we can't take it personally. Don't take it personally.
I'm just gonna abbreviate and, I mean, I hate to.
Well, yeah, that's how we get into this mess. I'm just messing with you, Taylor.
Is there anything else in the minutes?
Yeah, I don't mind this, I just. I'll take it.
Any other questions on the warrants?
I know we found the other.
We did.
Yeah, we
It was under her charge card. It wasn't an actual.
Further questions on the warrants?
Yeah.
Okay, so we move on. No further news on Brigham. I do need to follow up on that.
Did you want to touch on that one?
That's in mail.
Okay, sir.
That's another.
Okay.
I need to follow up on that because I was promised a response by now. So I've got to chase that one down.
So is Cheryl involved in that too? Cheryl Irwin or Drew?
No.
Okay.
No,
Who's on the Brigham Academy committee?
this is not,
This is separate from the
this is
committee?
separate from the Brigham Academy.
That's what my
Committee.
question was,
Yeah.
because it's kind of confusing.
Yeah, this is through the select board.
Okay,
What was the other thing?
That's the Brenda's from-
I do have one other thing, we're not another yet, so. Basically, that's, yeah, we don't have anything to go. We are now on other. I will lead out on that, Harding and Mazzati. Todd has promised me a copy of the report from our first responders for that date and location, which I can further I can send off to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Harding Mazzotti has refused to get back to me. I have talked to lawyers at the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. They are awaiting information and a report from me. Okay. And as I said, Todd has promised to do it. I reached out to Matt. Matt has been very busy and hasn't had time to get back to me.
Who's Matt?
Matt Hall.
Matt Hall, sorry.
So we know,
Yes, chief.
Others, which is mail, pretty much,
all right, so I have a couple others.
because we don't have mail business
No, that's gotta go in.
down here. So I'm putting it under mail.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't.
Lance.
What others?
We're on, go for it.
All right, I'm saying do mail first, or you want to do others?
Just to finish up with the mail first.
All right. Use one.
This one we discussed, Bruce reported to us tonight, does the select board wish to sign this contract with the state of Vermont?
We'll see with what he proposed. It's just a little pie shaped piece on what would be,
Hell, it can't be any bigger than 3 times the size of that table.
Size of that table.
yeah, he just wants to keep, that we keep it so the water is going on top of flow into their catch basins. And that's the only place he's. He had a permit.
Right, that was the one we questioned last time, like, what do they want us to maintain of their road?
I did request that he update the document to reflect that, so I don't, do we want to sign it?
No,
Wait for it, we gotta wait for him to update the document to reflect it.
right.
I asked him to send updated documents.
And
And a picture of his, so that something doesn't come down the line where, I mean, we can't report.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, yeah, point well taken. This current document that we have does not reflect the discussion that we had tonight with him, so.
I asked him to send an updated one,
John just said it 3 times.
picture of the, that he had, that he shared.
Do you want to share this one again too?
This is a letter from Mr. Foreland. I have attached a letter I received from the town of Bakersfield's health insurance provider, BCBS. This letter should provide all the information that was requested of me at the meeting on March 13th, 2023. Blue Cross Blue Shield has stated that if my employer has less than 20 employees, I am required to sign for Medicare, sign up for Medicare A and B starting April 1st, 2023, which I have done, as they are no longer, as they will no longer pay any medical claims that Medicare should pay as the primary.
So just to clarify what that says, it's not Medicare saying he has to sign up for it. It's our insurance company that covers him saying that he's no longer eligible for our insurance.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. That's exactly what we needed. Thank you, Dan.
If you've been through it and you haven't, because you ain't old enough yet, but you have to do this.
Like 20 years.
As you said, what was it? You were asking me what day did I? Paul Smith, he did, and I told you, and you said, oh, hell, I hadn't been there yet.
So this one, do you just put this back in the new mail?
Yes.
So recovered. That's, you've got all that.
Yeah.
What is this one?
Good job, Danny. That's a complaint about, we have a, an official complaint about
Tammy.
town report.
Oh,
Says it's illegible, unclear. Said they can't read it, it's little more than blobs.
it's because of the background was put in there.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna comment because, and some of the. Some of the pictures are. Pages. Yes, it's mostly in the school section.
Yeah.
However, there are some comments about the Bakersfield.
Oh, the birds, I think.
Yeah.
The what were tiny?
Birds.
Do we have a lot?
Well,
Well,
I grew up with school with complaining, so I'm not gonna say it's.
Oh, okay.
Because if you don't have.
Okay, so they're requesting we update it to reflect appropriately, or next year they.
Well, she expects a written response. Basically, I'll send it down to you in a moment.
Oh, then she thinks we can.
I am closing a self-addressed stamped envelope as I expect a reply from someone with answers to my questions and concerns. I am sure I'm not the only one who lives in this town and have done so for over 60 years, who thoroughly is disgusted with this town report book. I'm sure someone will have hurt feelings or get prickly over my concerns, but again, as a taxpayer in the town, I think I deserve some answers. I will be waiting for your reply, and please don't just get all defensive and use the terminology, you should get more involved or get a better pair of glasses, as an excuse. Yes, I know, I'm going to help. Own up to it and ask for help brainstorming to see how things can be made better. There are some, honestly, there are legitimate complaints in here.
She's the only one. I had a
No.
complaint.
I just can't keep my mouth shut.
I had a complaint.
Problem is your original is probably in color. And then we go from black and.
The original was in color.
Well, some of these look like copies of copies.
So what we need to do is take the originals that are sent to us, strip color from it, and just leave it as pure numbers in boxes. We can request, we're gonna have to request it.
But the problem is some of that stuff. Some of the stuff isn't even stuff that we have any control over. I mean,
Well, we do.
The quality of the copies from the school report can be improved on.
Yeah,
yeah, but it was I would say a lot of the stuff that I noticed was the school reports and like request letters that we got from other.
Oh, just a story.
Yeah,
there were complaints that I had heard that people were not happy with the book.
The regional.
I only
plan,
looked
you
at
can't
3
even do
sections of it, so.
that, 'cause it's all-
well, I mean, there's a way to fix that, but you're not gonna be happy when we have to spend a lot of money to get it printed professionally.
The school- We don't have to accept the school sending us crap.
No.
We-
And-
On that school budget that they, it's a decent quality for our book.
Yeah, in response to Todd, the reason this route was complaints that we were spending too much money
Oh, yeah.
on the town report. So we went this route, what,
And if you don't want something.
4 or 5 years ago, and we started putting it on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the equipment we have, this is what we're gonna get. And the quality of the copies that we got from the school district or the SU have a lot to do with the second half of the book.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna answer to the first half at this moment. There are some complaints about the first half too. As I said before, there are some legitimate complaints.
Tammy, I think if we're
Answering her.
if we're taking notes on this, I think a couple quick suggestions would be uniform font
Yes.
so that all types on our end anyway
Black.
have the same font. And no shadings.
Yeah.
No shading.
Yeah.
You know, like highlighted sections. There are some shadings in
Yeah.
some of our budgetary stuff. And that would remove a lot of the pixelation and cross contamination between the background and your font.
And your
So-
color copies.
Yeah.
Which. Black and white to begin with.
Yep.
It'd be much clearer.
Those are just a couple quick things that I know from printing off stuff at our school that help.
Just no color. Black and white, that way when we get them.
Speaking of small font.
They're not, they're to provide us cleaning.
For Lance. Lance is retired.
Sometimes I think-
Well-
Tomorrow, when you're having your coffee,
They're not-
can you write a letter to Eileen or to
The concerned individual.
that we recognize there are issues with it and we're gonna take
We're gonna work
some
on it.
action and hope that next year's comes out better.
If it doesn't, send another letter.
So I will improve next year with some changes that we're making.
I don't think there's anything too drastic. I think it's simpler things that,
This is already covered. This is a letter about the barn, our emails concerning the barn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Certificate of highway mileage, has this been sent, Matt?
You'll have to resend. Resend it, re-sign it, because they want proof of mileage that's beyond the map, so just.
Yeah, stuck up in more map.
I didn't know.
you can't just go changing their map, Tammy.
What are you saying?
I think
I just,
she
I
is.
think we decided what they sent us because,
So write out the changes and.
Nothing's
I think
changed
there's
this
no-
year, right?
No.
right, nothing's changed from last.
For this, you reprinted it.
Added mileage.
Yeah, no, what he's saying is he reprinted
Okay,
it.
so you want to throw this one away?
Shred that one, sign this one.
Mr. Newitt?
Oh, not that one.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, now. Go ahead, mail. We are, but there was another.
Good cities and towns.
With this.
Share our city will launch our new municipal access part. Oh, Jesus, another part.
Do that on the next.
I am so
It's the one for the permit.
Right.
To learn enough to play a real Lance.
Right.
Yeah.
They're waiting for you.
What is this one?
They're launching a new website with a new portal.
I don't want it. I don't want it. Here, I'll give you both of my copies.
So you want me to respond to this? I can't do it tomorrow morning. I have to take I have personal business I gotta take.
I believe that when it gets responded to will be a perfect time.
Speaking of responding to,
Sent an email today to Patrick.
did you get a response? Patrick is notorious for not responding.
Not yet.
Well,
I did tell him, however, that his portal was garbage and I wanted a step-by-step idiot proof instructions on how to find everything he says is there.
good luck. Been there, done that. And believe me, there are some people that have been dealing with portals. Their whole careers who agree with me,
Yeah,
and
that one's terrible.
they include people from the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. And professionals such as Paul Dreyer and
Yeah,
yeah.
I have to sign
You feel like I'm pulling you uphill?
online grant system with the Brigham Academy.
Right.
And they won't let Lance do it because he's not the chairman, even though he's done all of the work.
You got.
So they send it to me.
Yeah.
I've gone on this grant 5 times and every time I click on the thing that's red and says needs immediate attention, I click on it, it says 100% complete.
Yeah, no, that's the portal. That firefighting grants can be the same way.
Yeah, so I just kind of sit there and I scratch my head and then I click on all the other buttons to see if I can find anything.
3 years.
Yeah.
This makes FEMA portal look easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
FEMA portal is,
Are you good down this way?
we're good.
For other, I have a bunch of stuff under other, I'm just waiting to cruise with it.
Yeah, we'll say. John always have so many other others.
Because they took off for the agenda, otherwise it will be under ARPA. Most of it,
You think there was a reason that happened?
not yet. Couple weeks.
All right, give us you, or sorry, I'm not in charge here, but.
Another.
I've put other.
Okay, click on it.
It's really. Through mail, does that have anything for other?
Yes, Tammy, Mike, Tammy.
Turn your mic on, Tammy. Mike, Tammy.
You asked me to check about how much it would be to get internet at the shop.
Yep.
And to see if it compared was covered by what you had raised in the budget. But I can't find what you had raised in the budget. I remember you asked me to look. and
I
gave you
don't
the
have
stuff,
my
but I think we
budgetary stuff with me.
moved on to town by then. You guys have moved on to town. I don't know if
Yeah,
we went back to road.
Is that?
So essentially,
It should be,
right now, we pay $65.25 a month. It would additionally be $59.95 a month And we either buy the modem for $154.99 or rent it for $9.99 a month. And there's a $297 charge, so it's either 63 or 73.
That's a contract.
That's through Consolidated.
I say wait till fiber comes.
We did Comcast, the fire department just now, and it's a lot.
Yeah, Comcast is really good,
It's a little more expensive, but it's worth it.
but it's worth it.
So the only thing I see in here is telephone.
Yes. You can plug your phone system into the UPS box if you like, and your phone system. Yeah, I talked to the gentleman who knew for it. And we put their line, just the only time the line would be deactivated with Enosburg or the building over there and without. You lose it, but they're working on doing that.
You do have thing to go back to on
Patrolling lines during,
the,
they will actually put
on an email.
Comcast.
They get in there.
They did during the big.
Because I've had them come up and ask me, like, how long?
I assume just knew it's working on that.
The generator stolen.
Because nobody else wanted to talk to them about it.
The 8 port or 4 ports on, so that's 30. You bought them.
What are we
I'm gonna get more information from him, so I know what I'm buying.
what?
I'm illiterate when it comes to
UPS,
Oh, UPS, yeah.
yeah, like a 350,
KVA.
enough to cover your phone and your computer.
Yeah, you leave it up. Yeah, if you get a little box one over the last 15 minutes, you.
When I select it, outlets that are on the UPS and 4 that it has 8 outlets total, but 4.
If you're.
On the-
That's won't comment on the other people.
Only when the tree comes down.
That would be,
We had a line in Brattleboro that had 30 keys down.
that's for the 3-year commitment. But if you cancel before 3 years, it's $129 penalty.
You know, it's how much a month, because the only thing I see in here is telephone. I can't,
Free a month additional.
additional
Mhm.
Mac, I like you, but for $73 a month. For, that's basic.
That's for the
You're gonna have to drive
consolidated.
up there.
Okay, because you know what they're doing.
Budget that much.
Because you're a business, that's like the fire department tried to buy the home and they.
Package is Comcast, it's a different company, and they do one municipal in the town, and we get it for like $30. Because we're the one municipality.
So. How many extenders are we need to put on there? Yeah, we're putting on a good one that's just municipality building.
Yeah,
That's right.
I don't know, I didn't. know Comcast.
or put an extender, like he said, to get your Wi-Fi signal down.
I bet you 2 of them on the post you could get there.
Extender?
Yeah, try again. I will say, we're almost done looking into other change.
But is it true that you can, how do we hook up? Because we're one municipality, but our garage is a little farther away. We aren't quite getting the signal.
Yeah.
That's all we have to, we'll actually. To the phone line and then they're down there.
Right.
You ain't one of them HDMI, not HDMI, but whatever. Zip tie that son of a gun down through there. We'll put it back in the bucket.
On the bottom line and not the top one, that might get.
Snap. Hey, Timmy, thank you for that. You're gonna look into the next one. Which means we gotta go to John on, no.
Good.
Whatever.
Whole bunch of ARPA and one other item.
A lot of.
As you know, I just want to put it on the record. We have scheduled the final ARPA meeting for April 4th. All requests are due by the completion of that meeting, either via email or in person. We're not accepting anything via USPS because at the end of that meeting, we're going to be scanning everything in and sending it out to the select board for review and to Katie Buckley as well from VLCT to ensure it fits within the final rules. We have the special select board meeting. Thank you all for finding a date that works for all of you, April 12th at 7 p.m. all requesters must be present or on Zoom to answer questions regarding the request that the select board may have. The select board will make the final decisions if money will be awarded at that meeting. We will be. As I said, we're gonna send, you'll receive the stuff 8 days ahead of time to review. And there was a discussion as to the disbursement of funds because it has to go on a warrant first, that it would happen after the next select board meeting. But the funds would still be dispersed before the end of April. Unless we decide to do a special warrant, right, where we'd have to come in the next day to sign, that type thing. Is there a preference? We're talking like,
Why do we have to have?
Of course, the next
deadline?
meeting, yeah, it's just a week
Checks
away.
cut.
I'm sorry.
What's the next meeting after the 12th?
I
Yeah,
believe-
why do we need a deadline on when the checks will be cut? Because
trying
it
to get the
might not
checks in.
happen.
If we say, Mac, we're awarding money for your special flower farm or whatever. Those monies we want to get cut in April to get them out the door and say.
Right,
it's
so that
done.
meeting's just
And
until the
until
24th.
if there's any weeks left until.
This is when the special meeting is.
You know, anyone
24th.
else who has a request.
Then we would sign the actual.
We're gonna take a bit of ARPA hiatus over the summer because there isn't going to be
So
available.
you'd have to have them on the warrant for the next meeting.
We don't know for the next meeting, something, yeah, we can write the checks out that next day. We are going to be putting together a disclaimer document because there are some folks who are requesting ARPA funds for loss of salary during the events, during ARPA, loss of the capability of their business being able to earn them the income they normally earn, which then would, in logic says that we're replacing their income with this, that there may be state, federal taxes, fees, things like that. So I'm putting together a disclaimer that just covers us that we are not responsible for that. Those are the responsibility of the recipient of said ARPA funds from the government, you know.
Would it be our responsibility to 1099 them?
I have to finalize this with Katie Buckley, and we were kicking it around already in a discussion. Because honestly, this is replacing wages. This is, and they're not a 501(c)(3) organization.
That business.
Right.
So we would have 1099.
I think we would have to confirm, I think we would have to do a 1099.
Wasn't there other monies available for that?
What are they sending, what are they giving you to prove they've got those loss of?
That's
Us.
a great question. So I've asked,
What are they giving us?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
What are they supplying the select board? We've requested a proof of the financial loss through bank statements and or through tax returns for the business. The best thing would be tax returns that we would require. And I did advise even the 501(c)(3)s, I did advise them if they are claiming loss of the ability to get fundraising and donations due to this, that they should be supplying at least 3 years before COVID. So 2017, 2018, 2019 records. And then we also want to see 2022 outside of COVID because we should see that come back up. You know, if it was truly.
Not that they just stopped
Are they-
fundraising.
Are they also providing any of the other services that they've tapped into? Like their VRAPs, that pay their utilities, their fuel, their,
On the one that I have already seen, I asked them for the profit and loss statement that shows all the bills they put out and all the money they brought in since 2017. The individual, I don't know what they are supplying. I did tell, they were told before, you know, I don't know if they're going to do profit and loss or not, because the reality is, to your point, Terry, if you're not holding events to raise money, are you really spending that money that you normally would have spent? So that's why I said, give us some profit and loss statements. Some people don't use QuickBooks, you know, some people don't have accountants, so I don't know how they do it. But I should be able to see somewhere, we should be able to see somewhere in 2017, I brought in $10,000. on an average over those 3 years before COVID, I brought in an average of $12,000 a year. During COVID, that dropped to $3,000 a year. That's why I am seeking $18,000, and I just put it pretty simply. And this was actually talked about with this individual 2 or 3 ARPA meetings ago. So. But again, we're not responsible for their taxes, so I have to find out about the 1099 piece with Katie. And because the thing is, it's a grant, so maybe they don't have to pay taxes on it, but if they're saying it's due to lost wages, they may have to, I don't know. So we may have to 1099 that one.
So I think your initial question and all that was, do we want to hold a special meeting after the 12th to sign warrants
Correct.
for payment? Or do we say checks will be cut after the 24th meeting?
Correct.
I would say we're holding a special meeting on the 12th. Checks will be cut after the meeting on the 24th.
Thank you.
I'll second
Yeah, I
that.
would agree with that.
Checks will be what? Sorry.
After the meeting on the 24th. So we'll get a warrant just like we normally do, but it'll have all the ARPA expenditures on it. We'll sign it.
Only
The
12.
25th, they can cut the checks.
Yes,
There's gonna be people here,
we are going, yes,
and then are we gonna talk ourselves?
we can have an executive session if you want to have a discussion with no decisions made and come back with a decision that night. But the idea is that we finish this on the 12th.
Yeah, I'm fine with finishing on the 12th.
Go ahead.
I have a question as to, they're having a meeting on the 4th, is that correct?
They're coming with all their stuff on the 4th.
Coming in with all the information and all the defense of what they want at a meeting on the 4th. I think the select board needs a meeting without, if we have to claim it as executive session, then so be it, without interference. And everybody else, and then everybody else clamoring and saying, I deserve this, I deserve that, or I deserve it more than she does, or he does, or it's just confusing and it's going to make it difficult. Any arguments in favor of or in defense of your request are made on the 4th. After that,
We have to spend this,
2026.
2026.
so we don't have to have it all gone.
No, we don't have to spend it all.
Well,
We don't.
no, we don't.
It has to be, we have to have an obligation in place for so much of the money. To your point, you can have money left over at the end of this. You can deem to award no money to anyone. That's, the board's going to decide, and it's just the same way we decide everything by the preponderance of the vote.
Right.
So, Lance, if I'm hearing you correctly, you would like to have everything turned in by the 4th.
John has already requested that.
Great, correct. Thank you, Jamie. So, a executive session after the normal select board meeting on the 10th would give us time to evaluate in private, I guess you could say, on our own.
That's what they're going to come
It is the 12th.
and present to us. So
I don't think it would be a presentation on the 12th. I think what we're saying here is you want everything into you by the 4th.
yes,
We take the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th to look over it personally, if you so choose. The 10th, we have a regular scheduled select board meeting with an executive session afterwards to specifically talk about ARPA. Come up with questions, say Bob is requesting $20,000 and we don't see all the documentation that we need. We go on Bob's docket, write down, we have these 3 questions.
Yeah.
The 12th, they come in and justify that time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we make a decision.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sorry, taking over on you.
No, that's fine.
Tammy, on the 10th, after board business, another board item. Executive session. ARPA what do we want to call that? Discussion, evaluation, review. Thank you.
With no
Review.
decisions being made.
I think we are going to warn our executive session so that there is no question about it.
I was just gonna say, we want to make sure that that's what it is, no meeting, right?
I agree with Josh. This is black and white. It will be an executive session. We will not have people here.
There's no decisions made during that. It's just a time for us to look over the
Discussion.
bounce the questions off each other.
Yep.
So we're preparing
Yeah.
to write down the questions that we came up with without having other people here.
Or may not discuss things that would spark arguments with an audience.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And this isn't the time for that.
Right.
We'll do that on the
12th.
Just put no decisions being made.
Yep, exactly.
Sure, that shows that.
Well, you have to put that in your executive minutes after you come out.
Yeah.
Preparing for the 12.
When we come, we can.
We have to sleep.
No decisions were made.
That's me.
Yeah.
And that's we have like 8 or 9 out there, just so you know, unless more are coming in. We have heard there may be 1 or 2 more coming in. But they're going to Katie Buckley as well, because Katie may say that does not fit within the final rule,
And that's-
which we're going to remove them.
That's gonna take away some of those right off.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And I know, Linda, you had a question?
Did that question. They meet on the 4th with the updates for the ones that have been submitted.
Yes.
Don't get any new ones. And Katie Buckley is gonna get everything.
Everything. I'm sending everything to you.
Back to you by for the 12th.
12. Well, I was originally, she said she needs about a week, so I'm hoping she will. You know, if not, it'll be our interpretation of the executive, of the final ruling. Yeah, the idea of the 4th is so you can come in, we're gonna give information to everyone who's requesting funds. And we, want to give you the opportunity to give us the most recent. Because I'll be totally honest, I asked for the ARPA proposals and we're still looking, we found 1.
Yeah.
That's all we have. And I have all the stuff you gave me originally. But you know what, there's changes, so just give us the updated, total package and we'll go from
So
there.
you weren't giving them the information?
I don't understand that.
We can't, I requested the ARPA proposals. However, our prior ARPA administrator, because of different issues going on within her personal life, has not been able to get a hold of the proposals to give them to me. She can't find them at the moment. So the 4th meeting,
I thought they were all in a book.
they are not. They unfortunately are not. We looked on the desk. Tammy found 1.
So we paid someone to do a job they didn't do.
Well, they have them somewhere, just don't know where, and they
I think
don't.
we need to request that they're to you within a certain time frame.
Well, that's why I instead, because a lot of them were 2 years old, about 2 years, year and a half.
Everything's going to be resubmitted on the 4th, everything.
You should be getting those.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are we paying somebody to do the job if it's not getting done?
And if we did pay somebody and we are not getting, we need to be reimbursed back for the money we did pay out.
What I'm saying is, it's been over a year. It's going to be over a year by the time we get everything said and done. And there's been updates just on the Historical Society alone. And I could tell you Fairfield Community Center let me know via the telephone the other day that they went and got grants for the fencing around the piece. So that's changing what they're looking for or what they want to put the money towards. So there's changes happening.
So can we? I'm sorry, but we're not entertaining any proposals outside of the town of Bakersfield, period.
Well, if that's decided here right now, then that's decided here right now, but we have.
Right now.
I'm just gonna say, we have accepted the town of Fairfield Community Center's proposal already. Brenda had accepted it back almost.
Accepted the proposal, but no decisions have been made.
Right,
So you don't have to make that as a motion, because that can be part of our final decision.
Right.
Is criteria number 1, is this a Bakersfield entity?
Yeah.
No, The second file.
That's why I specifically requested an executive session.
Exactly.
So we can sit here and we can yell at each other.
This right now. I spent a lot of money out of that fund,
Yes,
administrative.
executive session.
You better go, yeah, before we go too much further.
So.
Any others?
Just so you know, at least, just so you know, Brenda has transferred over to me the portal that I have to report on. It opens April 1st. Now that we've signed a warrant, for Tammy, as soon as the check's cut, I can get the final numbers and I can start trying to figure out how to get that in the portal. I got 30 days to figure that out. That's it for me for ARPA. I do have something I gave to everyone. Piece of paper about MERP,
Yeah,
Municipal Energy Resilience Program. I think that maybe what you also were talking about in an email to me today.
Which you could use here to, your new system, right?
And you're, and you're low.
The lights, the heating.
it's telling you on the radio.
I signed up for, I sent you guys this the other day. I signed up for this class on the 18th, just so it covers it. Just know that there's, grants for up to $4,000. It's at the bottom of it for communities to increase our capacity and $500,000 for building renovations. Now, there's only, what was it, 48 million out there, 45 million out there. I know it sounds like a big number, but think of all the municipalities. So I think what we need to do, there's no deadline on this, but I think we need, and I don't know if this was
The problem with the no deadline ones are the first one's in or the first one's paid.
that's my point. So I think, I'm not sure this is what the gentleman who wants to write the grants, I think Jim Franklin was what this is what they were talking about. We should really take a hard look at this fast and get some stuff together.
This should be our priority. I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, I agree.
Sign up for it here and the library do their own.
The library's a municipal building, they can put in the town is a municipal building, they can put in.
I think you would have a better chance.
Side falls underneath it.
Now it all come down to who's the building.
Huh?
Yeah, so it would come down to who owns the building.
Society is not a municipal organization.
No,
Right.
Unlike
Yeah.
many other towns,
right.
cities in Vermont.
Technical assistance application.
You never asked to be. The Historical Society has never asked to be a municipal organization.
Right.
Whereas the library found that they were failing and asked the town to take over the financial responsibility of the library and therefore became a municipal entity.
Right.
So.
So I don't know what the process is to get you under the umbrella. You know, if. Exactly,
Right.
exactly. I don't know, the firehouse, does that fall under?
We're not, we're a contractor.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, at least some of the buildings, they can do the furnaces, it can do insulation in the walls, it can do lighting, it's energy efficiencies.
I think you may have a better chance of applying for the 3 buildings together.
Any municipal building together.
Right.
The worst they can do is turn down one of the projects that you're asking for. Say, well, the library really doesn't, yeah. But
Doesn't
each
fall under it.
request is right.
So I'm going to the course, it's free, I'm going on the 18th, I don't know who else has time to join and listen. So that it's more than, I mean, I'll gladly take notes, but then it's one person's hearing interpretation. Yeah, but. It's Zoom, you can zoom in. I'm zooming it.
Okay.
Not just furnaces, that's like all weatherization.
Yeah, it says that.
So it's
Yeah.
it's your insulation, it's your windows, it's your lights.
Yeah,
That's
it's all, anything you can quantify under energy efficiency, including the doors, the windows.
You know, you could put energy efficient walls in. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just FYI, I thought that would be something good to bring up, considering, you know, it saves us money.
This is the day of the meeting. April 18th. Where do you see where the Zoom is?
If you click that email I forwarded you, it says register, if you click the word register, then it will.
This is later than that means that's a button,
Right.
but since our copier doesn't do color. We have to interpret that.
Okay,
That, I think,
Is that your final?
let me just look, hang on, sorry, I closed my book foolishly.
Who invited that guy anyway?
I don't know. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
The first time I looked at it, it said 501c3 too, but
They took it off.
They took it off, yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one other one that I asked Mac earlier before the meeting to do for me is the Catholic Cemetery off from Avenue Road.
Mhm.
I saw some four-wheelers going into the academy or down into the, so I asked them if they had an extra sign that they could put up on Danny's side of the thing saying no dogs, no, all that.
Yeah.
Kind of like we did for this
For
cemetery.
the
over
park
here.
out here, yeah.
So he
Yep.
said he would, but I wanted to bring it up to the rest that I asked that. And that was based on a.
so they
complaint.
were in the
They were in
cemetery.
the cemetery.
Four-wheelers?
Yes.
You may actually want to reach out to. You may want to reach out to the
Catholic.
Catholic Church
Yeah.
down in Fairfield.
I know we don't own it.
Right, I would say the Catholic Church would probably have monies for that.
St. George's.
I didn't know that either. and I found out today.
Okay, I'm just, it's not technically town property, just. I'd hate to throw up a sign and then have somebody be like, who put that tacky no four-wheeler sign at the entranceway of the, you know, I. They may have their own way they want to handle it, let God act his will.
That really is Mark.
St. George.
They've got a heck of a church that goes behind the cemetery.
Yeah.
It comes up in the ball field. Yeah.
I know.
The church down there, what's the place, I can't think of his name.
There's no way to get out of that cemetery, so why would you go in there with a four-wheeler?
To be an asshole.
What's I'm thinking of.
Fenced?
Oh, it's down there. Down by Goki Stones it does.
Oh, I thought.
Rare, but I don't know what shape it's in,
Not ever.
You entertaining motions?
I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I second said motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.